Hello, welcome to Always Yarn First, the podcast that delves into knitting, crochet, spinning, and all things yarn. I'm Lindsay, and I'm coming to you from Central Arkansas. To stay updated on my latest yarn adventures, you can follow me on Instagram and Ravelry as Always Yarn First. Welcome! Before we get into it, a little bit of admin as always. I am a Knit Picks ambassador. I have a discount code for 15% off in the notes below. And then I'm also hosting a year-long make-along, Love My Stash Mal. It is going on my Ravelry group page. And all that you need to do is use something from your stash before this calendar year, at least 50 grams of yarn for your project, and post it in the FO thread. And I have a winner for the month of May, which is cyndilouwho, which is my friend Cindy, who I met at the Knitting McPurley retreat. So congratulations, Cindy. Contact me either on Ravelry DM or you can email me at AlwaysYarnFirst@gmail.com and I will get a prize out to you. All right, let's get into the podcast. Today is Wednesday, June 4th, and we are in episode 90. And if you are new here, welcome. I hope you find something you enjoy and will stick around, like and subscribe and all that. I name every podcast after a song title because before my love of yarn was my love of music. And I always find a song that kind of encapsulates the vibe, my life, projects, whatever. So this week's song, I picked I Won't Give Up by JessieMaed. I do have a Spotify playlist below, so I have all of my songs over there if you want to give it a follow. I have the link below. All right, let's get into the making, shall we? I have 0 finished objects this week, but I do have a couple of new cast-ons. So the first new cast-on I have, if you were here the last episode, I had finished my second Tolsta, which I did the DK weight, square neck, loved it, but said I was going to move on from there, which I was totally planning on it. I posted that finished object on Instagram and Facebook, and my friend Tara said, will you make me one? And usually, you know us makers, we're like, no. But I love making this, and so I privately responded to her, and I'm like, I'll tell you what, if you want the DK version, square neck, basically the exact same one that I have been making, I will make you one. You buy the yarn. So for those of you who don't know, Tara is Lori's sister. Lori is my boss and friend from Arkansas Yarn Co., where I work. And so I cast on another Tolsta. It's just living in the same bag where all my other Tolstas were, which is my LYS Della Q bag. And Lori we went around the store and we're showing pictures to Tara of some different DK combinations she could do. And Lori had special dyed this colorway for someone else, but had some extra skeins. So this is what she chose. And look how far I am, y'all. I am just past the arm separation. So I am working on the back and decreasing right now. And I don't remember this colorway name, but it was a special dye. Oh, I can't believe it. But this is Arkansas Yarn Co. Sparkle DK. And I love this colorway because you know I'm a blue girl. So I'm a little bit jelly, but I have something similar color that I have in acquisition. So it's all good. But I'm enjoying this as always. Love this. This time I did a different cast on instead of my regular German twisted cast on. I actually did the alternating cable cast on. So again, if you've been here a while, you know I am super tight casting on, super tight casting off. But I love this, and you can see it's stretchy. This works, I mean, this is made for 1x1 ribbing. I wish I would have thought of this on my previous 2 Tolstas because this is fantastic. It looks great. But yeah, super happy with it. I got a lot done the first weekend I cast on. Another reason I had decided to do this, because the last podcast I had said I was going to a movie. I went and saw Mission Impossible. Excellent. I actually ended up going to a movie Saturday night also. So I went to the movie theater Saturday and Sunday night. My daughter wanted to see Thunderbolts, and so I went with her. So I thought this was the perfect opportunity. Basically, Tara asked me at the right exact time for me to make this, because usually I'm not making garments for other people. But I cast this on, I did the ribbing, and then I went to the movie theater 2 nights in a row and got a ton of knitting done in the theater. So it's gone really fast. So that is Tolsta by Rebecca Clow. DK version, square neck tank. Number 3. So I actually cast on 2 Tolstas in May, which is crazy to me. All right, I do have one other cast on, and if you follow Arkansas Yarn Co. on Instagram, you may have seen this. We had actually polled people what colors that I was going to make this with. So this again is in another Delicue bag. Lori brought this back from the North Texas Yarn Crawl when she went and for a trunk show at Juju Knits. And this is the Harlow Flip by Andrea Mowry. I wanted to make this hat to kind of practice my brioche, and I had picked a couple of different combinations with the Urth Yarns Spiral Grain. I picked a few, but I couldn't decide which ones I liked, and so we put it on Arkansas Yarn Co. Instagram for a vote, and we picked 3 different combinations, and I said I would make whichever one was chosen, and this was the one. So the colorways, I didn't put it on my notes here, but I did just put it on my project pages, is Jacoranda and Ficus. This is Urth Spiral Grain Light Worsted Weight. We have this in the shop, and I've made a good deal of progress again. So here it is. So the Harlow Flip, if you're not familiar, Andrea Mowry previously had the Harlow, and it was just all the same. Now you'll notice this changes throughout. So it's meant to flip up at that change portion. It's not going to show well because I'm not that high up, but then it matches up like that with the flip. Now I didn't want to buy, I just wanted to get 1 skein of each of these. So the pattern, I think has you do 4 inches of this part, the part that flips up, but I was going to be a little short on yarn, and I didn't need that much of the extra flip part, so I did 2 inches, so that I'm planning on that I can make the hat with just 1 of each of these. So mine is going to be a little bit less of a flip, which is totally fine by me. But I'm loving this, and I'm super excited. I've only done, I think, 2 other brioche projects ever, and I dropped a stitch the other day, and I'm like, uh-oh. And I think we had this discussion at work that brioche is not hard. It really isn't. But I think that what holds people back from doing brioche is the fact is it's hard to correct a problem in brioche. So I dropped a stitch a few rows, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to attempt to pick this up. And I actually successfully did it. I couldn't even tell you where it is now. So I was super excited about that. But this is just so squishy and so good. I love it. There's the other side. Yeah, love, love, love this pattern. I think she just had her annual spring 4-day challenge to make this. I didn't get in on that, but I have been working obviously regularly on it since it is a new cast on. Okay, so that is all of my new cast-ons. So let's get into whips. All right, so I guess before going into whips, talk about something I've done. So I've mentioned my, let's see, which way do I need to spin? I have my whips currently back here on this little shelf, and I am a whip girl. I like lots of whips. I like being able to change projects. Doesn't bother me at all. Every few months I go through them and make sure I still want the item. And I still want all these projects behind me. So I've seen on a lot of podcasts, people will download an app on their phone for like a spinning wheel where they put all their projects. Some people do it for like, I think I just watched Lisa this morning of Knit All the Yarn. She does it for which like Felici pair she's going to start next for her socks. I've also seen people do it for, they put all their old whips on there. I think Amy of Happy Little Yarn, where she's like, which one am I going to finish next? And she will spin the wheel and then focus on that till she finishes it. That's asking a little bit too much for me because, again, I like switching projects. So what I decided to do is go through and make a wheel of all my whips that aren't in current rotation. So, for instance, the two I just showed you, I'm regularly working on those because I want to work on those. Now, if one of them gets set aside and I'm like, meh, then I'll put it on the wheel. But like those two whips, my monthly Night Owl fiber socks will not be on there. And I also decided not to put my Anna Zadora because that's the one where I am using my monthly gritty knits. I'll save up for a few months and then I will catch up. So I work on that at a certain time. But every other whip that I have that's just sitting, not regularly getting done, is on my wheel. And so what I'm doing, instead of focusing on finishing it, that'll be my, I'm calling it my fiber focus for the week. So I will make sure to knit on that every week. So I started this last week, and the first project that came up on my wheel was the Flutter butt. So this is in a Knit for Brains bag, Rainbow Bright. And if you remember, this one got put aside because I was doing it for our knit along, Arkansas Yarn Co. knit along with Knitting McPurley in Slub yarn. And I realized I never changed size for my needle. And I was really worried. I decided to just keep going on it. I think it's going to be okay, but, you know, famous last words, who knows. But I picked this up, and this was my focus for last week. So I basically am spinning the wheel on Sundays, and that's my focus for the week. And what I mean by focus for me is I'm an early morning person, and I work the best earlier in the morning. So usually what that means is whatever one I spin, that's the first project I'm going to touch in the day. It's almost like I'm kind of doing it like a 30 minutes a day thing. I'm not timing it, but I have to work on it for at least a certain amount of time before I work on my other normal projects. So I actually made a good deal of progress. So again, I'm working on one side flat on this garment. So here I am, and you can see my stitch marker right there. There was short rows in here, and I have finished the short rows section before my week with this project was up. So I'm very excited. This is in Arkansas Yarn Co. Slub Base Purl Slub, and it's the colorway Raspberry Beret. And I'm pretty sure we still have some of this colorway at the shop. Love this color. So yeah, I am excited. I did what I planned and made a good deal of progress. So let me move this marker up before I forget. So we'll see how long this lasts. Again, I'm not taking myself too seriously with this, but it's just a way to still make some kind of progress on my older whips. I find that I have a thing where toward the end of the year and going into the new year, some people like to get all their whips off their needles before the new calendar year. I don't really care about that. For me, it almost seems like mid-year, I'm like, okay, there's a lot of whips. And now that I have this shelf back here, it's nice because I'm like, it's kind of like when I have room for yarn. For me, I have all my yarn out so I can visually see it in my living room in cubes. And if I don't have any more room for yarn, I'm like, if I can't see the yarn, I'm going to forget about it. I'm never going to work on it. So again, all the whips, if they're not going to fit on this shelf, then am I really going to actually work on it? Because it's just going to completely go by the wayside. And there's lots of things I still want to cast on. So this is just a way for me to make some progress, at least a little bit, moving it forward. All right, so this week is a new week, and I spun the wheel again. And this week it was my Lamana cardigan. This is in a bag by, oh my goodness, I know it's in here. Oh, Knick Knack Knits. And this is, I can't even go into it anymore. This is the cardigan that it's a free pattern, but I feel that it's not well written. So it has been a challenge, but I really want it. I'm determined to make it, and I'm making good progress. So this is yarn dyed by Mowry, and this is the Lamana Luxury Cardigan by Nordic Knits. Again, with some tweaks and things by me, because sometimes when I don't understand it, I will just kind of fudge it. And I made a little progress. So today's Wednesday. I roll the spinner on Sunday, but really it's like for Monday on where I do it. Like Sunday afternoon, evening, I like to kind of plan my week. I do my calendar, and that's when I spin the wheel. So I don't necessarily knit on it Sunday. It starts on Monday morning. So I've only had a few days of this. And I was at a point, again, where I'm like, I brought it into work and consulted with Jessa, who can read knitting and stitching and problems so well that I had to have her translate, like, am I understanding this properly? So here is my stitch marker. So I finished this part, and then I have done gradual cast-offs, and I'm at this point, and which isn't very far. I'm working the right front right now, and I'm again at a section where I'm like, am I reading this right? So tomorrow when I go into work, I'll probably have to bring this in again and ask Jessa to look at it, because I really do. I'm already frustrated enough with this project that if I make a mistake on it, it's going to be like that much more in the timeout corner. So I really want to do it correctly the first time. And it's hard to see how in the world this garment's coming. I'm going to show you the right side. I am using Arkansas Yarn Co. Yummy Sparkle base held with the Suri base. It is wonderful, lovely. I knew this pattern when I started was going to be an issue, but a friend of Lori's had knit it for her, and it is like the perfect feeling cardigan. So I'm just getting through it, working through it, determined to do it. That's why I wanted a color that would go with everything, because let's face it, I'm probably never knitting this pattern again. This is it. But I love, love, love the look of it, the feel of it. It's going to be fantastic when I finish it. And like I said, I've made progress. I've gotten through it. I have the whole back. I'm working on the right front. Then I'll have to work on the left front, and then the arms. So it's getting there. It's getting there. But I did look the other day to see when I started this project, which was February 2023. So it has been a slow going project. But it's going to get there, and it's going to be fantastic when it's done. So that is my project of the week this week. All right, what else have I knit on? One more project that I've made just a little bit of progress on, and that is my half and half triangles wrap. So I put it in this little bucket bag by String Crazy Bags. This is just kind of a baby blanket. I'm working up casually. And it's not going to look like much, but I did make a little bit of progress. I am using two, right now I just have one in here, but I am using Queensland Coastal Cotton Fine. This is the navy, and then I haven't added it yet, and I don't have it with me. It's on my shelf, but it will be using also Bell's Beach. So this is just going to make one big triangle. It's just short rows. Here's where the short row is. And I know I had a stitch marker. Oh, there it is. I was hiding it. So I put the stitch marker on the non-short row side so I can see how many like rows I've actually done. So I've done a few, not a ton. This will probably just go into the rotation of the spinning the wheel now. I have, oh, and by the way, the wheel, I have 20 projects total on the wheel. If I inserted a picture of the first wheel when I spun it, I forgot that I had my Wave to the Fans blanket. That is in the living room. So I did add that one on. So I have 20 projects on that wheel. And I don't know if those things, like if I'll get what the odds are that I'll get another project again, or if it kind of like goes through all of them before, we'll see. We'll see, but I'm dedicated to at least giving it a try. I'm not making myself work on any certain amount. I'm not overly stressed on it. Just like I said, it's just a way to get the needles moving, literally. All right, so that is all I have worked on this week. So next, I do have a podcast, a new podcast to me. I found a podcast actually this morning, and it is called Leah Loves to Knit. She is from New Mexico, and she just started. So if you are particular about wanting to start a podcast from episode 1, I'm looking at you, Kristen. Then this will be a great one to try. She is super fun and bubbly and sweet, and she is mostly a sock knitter. I think on the first episode, it was all socks. So I don't know if it will continue that way or not, but I did see she has at least an episode 2 out, because I'm always a few weeks behind on podcasts because I have so many queued. But I really enjoyed her, and I subscribed to her this morning. All right, next we have acquisitions, which there are quite a few to get through. And then after that, we will talk about May, June goals. All right, let's get into acquisitions. All right, so there's quite a bit of acquisitions, and I forgot to talk about some the last podcast. So the last podcast, I had gotten a gift from Lori. She had gone to Ireland a month or so ago, and she had brought back something for each of us, but the thing she got for me, she actually had sent, and it was taking a long time to ship. So this is what she got me. Okay, sorry for the crinkle, but this was from an alpaca farm. So this is alpaca. You can see all the perfect layers in here. This is 100% pure alpaca. So I am excited to spin with this. And then the other thing I had gotten from the last podcast that again I forgot was last month's Gritty Knits. So we are into purples. This is the All Year Advent by Gritty Knits. This is 20 gram minis, 87 yards each, 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon, and they are numbered in the color order. Again, like I mentioned, I use this for my Anna Zadora, so now I have 3 months of minis, so that is going to be on my goal list for the month to get caught up with that. All right, I think everything else is since the last 2 weeks. So let's keep going with subscriptions. I received, again, sorry, I haven't taken this out. My Knitting McPurley Sock Club. So this is June, because she, this is for the month of June. We, these are for doing along with the sock project book. So she dyes up yarn specifically for a project. This is for the Luna socks. And yeah. And then it comes with a little stitch marker that shows what the socks will look like, which is so cool. All right, so I received that. Next, I received a couple of different packages from the Knitted Butterfly. The Knitted Butterfly, she does monthly packets. She is a maker that makes gorgeous stitch markers, project markers. And she has a theme each month, and she works with a dyer, and the dyer creates a mini skein that goes with her club. So Lori did a mini skein for the, I'm guessing it's the June box. I don't know if this was the May or June. You can't get this anymore. But she was doing it. I knew what the theme was, so I decided to go ahead and order it. You order this each month. It's not a recurring theme, but this is her subscription. So this is the yarn Lori dyed. Life is Better in Pink. So gorgeous. And then here's the extras that came with it. So a little pouch. You can see a T and a couple stitch markers, and her stitch markers. So pretty. And she always has this little pouch that is gorgeous also for the stitch markers. So love, love, love that so much. But then she also, on Mother's Day, she had, and I think this is recurring in her shop, if I'm not mistaken, because I saw that she was getting ready to do more. She has basically a birthday box. The idea is that you can buy it. It comes really nicely wrapped up, like beautifully packaged. I did an unboxing on my Instagram when I got it, so that you can purchase it as a gift for someone else. But I just purchased it because you'll see why. So she had a special on Mother's Day. It was like, I don't even remember how much percentage off, but it was so ridiculously well priced that I'm like, I have to get this, especially when you see this yarn, because hello. So it came with this. This is from Hummingbird Yarn Company. This is 80% extra fine superwash merino, 10% cashmere, 10% recycled nylon. It's DK weight, 50 grams, 123 yards. It also came with a candy bar, which, good thing I put this in my bag because this would have already been gone. I love birthday cake and wedding cake flavored things. So yeah, this won't stick around much longer. It came with a beautiful soap. And of course, her stitch markers. With another little pouch. Gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. So again, this set, with all of these, go on to her site, and if she doesn't have any now, keep checking, because I know just last week she had posted that she was getting together more sets. All right, now, last weekend, we had our party to celebrate 6 years of Arkansas Yarn Co. brick and mortar store. And I got some things. Oh, wait, there's one more thing before that. I got this. before that. I ordered this. Woolens and Knot should come up with some things she added to her shop, and I love this color. It's called Hawaiian Shirt. This is not her Target base. This is just a superwash merino fingering, 90% merino, 10% nylon. Love this, love this. Okay, now, so I got a couple things from the trunk shows. We had 3 trunk shows, Sydney Fowler Creations, which I never even got over to look at Sydney's things. As I was checking people out, and it was crazy busy. We had so many people in the store. It was lovely. It was a beautiful day. Unfortunately, I didn't get over to Sydney's booth, but I did get to see Laura Knit for Brains, because when she came in and set up, I got to look what she had. And then Ross from Twisted Ambitions, again, when he set up, I got to go through his stuff. But before that, so what happens when we have an event? Many months, you know, if you've ever been in Arkansas Yarn Co., it's a large store. We have like the nice front area. We have a middle room, which is the classroom. That was where Ross was set up. And then we have the back room, which is where we ship things, and Lori's dye studio. And we have all these tables, excuse me. And Laura's trunk show was going to be in the back on the tables. So we needed to do a major cleanup. What happens through months of, you know, between events like that, when Lori's dyeing, she'll special dye for someone, or she'll test out a base or a colorway, and then she doesn't love it. So sometimes the yarns will just sit on the back counter somewhere, and it'll just keep sitting. Well, there was, so it's like time to like do major cleanup and be like, okay, if you're not going to use this for something, let's put it out on the floor. You know, as a one-off, let's just get it on the floor because someone might love this colorway. So there was a set that, if I'm correct, that Lori had specifically dyed for someone as a very mild fade. And I don't know if they went another direction or what happened, but there was this 3-pack of yarn sitting on the counter, I would say for a couple months, at least like a month and a half. And it was totally my colors, and I'd be like, what is this for? What is this for? What is this? Does this belong to someone? And then, so Lori knew I loved it. And then one day I came into work last week when we were, you know, getting ready to clean up back there, and the girls had cleaned off one of the counters where all the extra yarn was, and I have a little cubby where I put my purse and stuff. And I saw this fade in my cubby, and I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, okay, so we're, you know, putting all this yarn out, and we know that you loved it, so it's available if you want to purchase it. I'm like, okay, excellent. So here it is. I'm going to take it out because I don't think you're going to be able to see. Again, it may be hard to see the fade. It is very, very subtle. So this is the lightest, and it gets a little darker and a little darker. I think it's showing up. Like I said, it's very subtle, but I love that. And this is, I didn't write it down, but I know it's a linen blend. So great for a summer knit. I have an idea of what I might be working with this. So I snatched this up. So again, not really having to do with our party or trunk shows, but it was a benefit to me that I finally got to get this yarn. And then another thing I got, which was Lori did dye some things to just get some things in the shelves. And one thing she dyed was a sock set, which as of yesterday, we still had these in the shop. And again, this is my colors. Seriously, I love the bright coral. I love the blue with the brown pops. So I wrote the colorway name, and then it I don't remember what it is. It looks like it says Sassy something, and I don't remember. It got all wiped away on marker. But we do have a couple of these sock sets. So I decided before this one on the floor that this was also going to be mine. Again, this is the benefits of working in a yarn store, that you're able to pick and choose things beforehand. All right, so next let's talk about Ross. Ross was there. He did his trunk show Friday and Saturday. And I had great restraint. Also, I knew that we were going to be restocking our Twisted Ambitions we had in the store. So I thought, okay, I have some time. So some things are going to go back on our shelves and not disappear. But I am hosting a beginner sock class at Arkansas Yarn Co. This month in a few weeks. And I need to make baby socks. So I saw this. There was only one of this mini. And I thought, this is what I'm making baby socks out of because it's pretty. This is the colorway Oasis. So it's a 20-gram mini. This is actually 92 yards, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. So I bought this. And then the other thing I bought, which Lori convinced Ross to make mystery bags. We have mystery bags in the shop and people love them. And Ross was reluctant, just as Lori was at first, until we started selling so many of them. And he's like, okay. He's like, well, maybe I should make them in clear bags. And we're like, no, that's the whole point. We're like, do one skein with a mini that could go with it. So I bought a mini bag just to prove like how much I love mini bags. And this is what I got. Look it, I got blue, y'all. So this doesn't really have a color name. It says Twisted Luck, but he said all of his kind of like one-off colorways that don't make it into the shop, he calls them all Twisted Luck. It's kind of like one of a kind. So beautiful blue and black. And I got like this lilac colored to go with it. So that's what I got from Ross. And then we're almost done, I promise. Laura from Knit for Brains was there. First of all, she brought us each a gift. She's been kind of making things with beads and stuff. So she made us each like a cute little keychain. Look at this. It's Mickey Mouse. I love the yellow and the coral pink. So cute. Love it. And then I did snatch a couple things from her. I guess I don't have one of the things here. She is really good at the 80s retro bags. And so I got this Care Bears one because I love it. It's just light pink polka dots inside. And then she has these little tissue pouches and she put the tissues in them. And so one of them's already in my purse, I forgot. But I got two different strawberry shortcake ones. So yeah, that's what I got from Laura. And that is the end of my acquisitions. That was a lot. All right, we have one more section and then we are done. We are going to briefly talk about goals because it is the first podcast of the month. So let's talk about May. What did May bring? May, I had 3 FOs and 4 cast-ons. I had 17 skeins of yarn in, which makes my total of 52. I do want to point out, not that it's really helping me, but 8 of those skeins I did not purchase. 5 is for the sweater class I'm filming for Arkansas Yarn Co. And then 3 is for Tara's Tolsta. Just, making it, I'm saying it out loud for my benefit. And then Yarn Out, I had 5 skeins, which brought my total to 29. I forgot to put in my gram stitch, so editing Lindsay will put that information in right here. And that's basically my finished objects, how many grams were in those things. I had 3 goals for the month to finish my Night Owl socks, my Tolsta, and my Dorid scarf, which those were all finished objects last podcast, so those were all completed. So let's talk about June goals. June goals, of course, Night Owl socks, as always. And I just realized I cast on my Night Owl socks. I did not put them on here. Okay. Anyway, so June goals, Night Owl socks, and then Tara's Tolsta. So again, another Tolsta. And then I want to catch up on my Anna Zadora shawl, which is using the Gritty Knits All Year Advent. Yeah. And not really a goal because I have to do it, but I have here, I didn't put it as a whip this time because I didn't work on it really, but this is for the sweater class. I actually wanted to work on this weekend, and then I realized, no, I can't work on it because I have to film the class when I'm working on it. So that is what I'll be doing tomorrow, is filming class number 2 for the flax sweater for the Arkansas Yarn Co. sweater class. And that starts this weekend, so super excited about that. We have a class full of students, so that'll be really fun to see people make sweaters together. All right, so either editing me will go back and put in on my cast-ons that I cast on my Night Owl fiber socks, because evidently I didn't write them in my knitting journal, thus why I didn't get on my notes. Or I will just show you that next time. So we'll see. If you made it all the way to the end of this podcast, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. I hope you're doing well and enjoying your makes. Make sure you love what you're knitting, crocheting, spinning, cross-stitching, sewing. You know, do what you love. Craft what you love. I'm happy to see you, and I'll see you again in 2 weeks.